Good evening. Tonight, we're doing some more Machinist farming, just like last week. The key difference is that I'm going to try and be a little bit more effective about it. So we're going to use a strategy that is a little more effective without being too restrictive in who can join. To start off, I'll go over some strategies that turn out to be the most effective. Last week we had like an idea of what was most effective. Now we have a better idea of what is most effective. There's different options depending on whether you are, going, what's my most what's the most effective way to grind Machinist, like in general, or there's also the option that maybe you have a static. So you can like, if it's something that requires 4 or 8 players to do really effectively, you could do that. And if you don't have that, so you're like relying on Party Finder, that's also something. And if you're alone, there's also something there. The thing is that for the most part, most of the options are going to be very, very similar. It's basically going to be the same all the way down. Let me just double check one thing before I start listing them though. Right, so hey Gazel, hey Gilano, and hey Tracy, I hope you're doing well. So the strategy that seems to be the most effective just with no contest whatsoever is if the queue time on Rival Wings, notably Hidden Gorge, because Astragalos here is never available, but if the queue time on Rival Wings is really short, because you have to remember when you're spamming something to farm, the time between goes also matters, and this is of course the case for all of these strategies, that if I say this takes about 10 minutes to do, so it gives this average Machinist per minute, if the queue time is 5 minutes, then you have to add that on top, which might make something that is otherwise absolutely excellent into something that is not excellent. So just keep that in mind. And hey, Mikal, I hope you're doing well. The best option for farming Machinist, and it's like there's not really any contest as far as I know, is Rival Wings. And the reason is that if you win, you get 10 Machinist, and if you lose, you get 6. Now, the key here is that a Rival Wings match takes at most 15 minutes, which means that, yeah, if you're losing on a timeout, which is, as far as I know, very unlikely, then you're getting like below average results, but on average, you're expected to get a little bit over 7 Machinist per PvP match, if we're assuming that there's an equal chance that you win and you get, like, whether you get first, second, or third place. And, well, actually, well, you know what I mean, right? Whether you get 10, 6, or 6. It's the same with Frontline, and there's like a first, second, and third place reward. So if we assume there's an equal opportunity either which way, then you should expect around 7. If the draw is less likely to happen, then like we're only increasing it to like get closer to 8. So it's only good. And if the average is around 7, and the clear like and usually you don't go like to timeout, then you should expect at least half a mock tome per minute, which is like good. And that is like the lower bound. So if you can clear faster, and if you have a higher win rate than lose rate, then Rival Wings just becomes better. I've heard some people suggest that sometimes Rival Wings can end in 5 minutes or less. And if it can end in 5 minutes, and you can win that match, well, then you get 2 mock tomes per minute. It's insanely effective. It's so good that, as far as I know, there is nothing that can compete with this. There's no option that can be done faster than that. So consider that. I know that a lot of people got introduced to Rival Wings because of this. So consider it. When I tried to make a test run, it was like during the day, like during work hours. It said that the queue time was over 30 minutes. So keep this in mind. That's why I prefaced this specific suggestion by saying, remember that you have to include the queue time. If it takes 5 minutes for you to get into Rival Wings, then even if you can clear it in 5 minutes, you still have to include those extra 5 minutes of just sitting there and waiting. Because if you keep queuing, there's a good chance that like you'll end up with the same players, because the rest of the players are also spamming Rival Wings. So you might like be able to chain it and then reduce the average wait time you had to spend. Which makes it more effective and like reduces the downsides. But Rival Wings is the best, like absolutely most effective way to farm mock tomes, even if you're losing. So if you can get your foot in the door, this is a great time to try Rival Wings. Even if you're alone, mind. You don't need anyone else. It's probably easier to win if you bring 3 friends, assuming those 3 friends aren't completely lost in PvP, and have like an idea of what they're doing. The second best option then is, I would guess that the second best option is P1N. So the normal version of P1. You have almost certainly heard this one before. If you ever use Party Finder, you have probably seen it before. I suppose this person is very exhausted. I'm tired. Interesting item level requirement. Very fascinating, but yeah, the reason is, if you have a full pre-made with 1 tank and 7 DPS, if everyone's doing the fight correctly, you will not need any healers, and you won't need 2 tanks. You won't need 2 tanks. If you bring 7 DPS and they all know what they're doing, and they're all like at least item level 640, then you can beat the fight in under 3 minutes. And as it gives 3 tomestones, that would mean 1 tomestone per minute, which is not as good as optimal Rival Wings, but it's 1 mock tome per minute. It's incredibly fast. But if you don't have the skill level to do that, like maybe you're not able to play a DPS and playing like optimal damage output and all that, so you don't feel comfortable with joining a group like that, then the third place option, which circles back to being something you can do completely alone, I would suggest is Frontline. So like just spam Frontline. It has the exact same situation as Rival Wings, where you should expect around 7 mock tomes on average per run. So if you can finish in under 14 minutes, which you typically should, especially on Seal Rock. I'm pretty sure Seal Rock is the one that tends to end the fastest of the 3, even without like a team being particularly ahead. Um, that way, you might be able to make it turn into, you know, like 14 minutes or less. And if you can do that, then you're getting like a decent average. And if you don't want to do that, then we circle back to P1 again. But this time it's just queue solo. Usually the average clear time of just Duty Finder P1, like you just queue in alone and get paired with 7 other people, 2 healers, 2 tanks and 4 DPS, is less than 6 minutes. Which is still half like a mock tome per minute, which is okay. But when you randomly queue into really good players, you can sometimes get a clear in 5 minutes or even 4 minutes when it's really like the cream of the crop, especially if you yourself are also like bringing it. But it can vary. Sometimes you have really bad groups, sometimes you have really good groups, but on average it's pretty good. And then there's also the option, if you have an 8-man group, like a static, that you like raid with on the regular, keep in mind that the Unreal that is currently on the table, Zorvan, gives 8. So if you can clear this in, I'm not entirely sure what the like average fight length of this is, but if we assume it's under 10 minutes, then this is actually really close to P1N. It's just a lot more intense, and you could wipe. So it's less consistent, and it has a much higher requirement to the exact 7 people you're grouping with, because they need to know what they're doing. But yeah, just to summarize, some of the best options if you're alone is Rival Wings and Frontline. And if not that, you can do P1N. The notable difference here being that you don't have to have finished the MSQ at all to do Frontline or Rival Wings, while you do have to have gotten really far in the MSQ to access P1. So if you're not, like, if you're still progressing the MSQ, you can just spam PvP. And for those wondering, that is what we're going to do today. I specifically made sure, I adjusted some things to make sure that the dailies or mock tome stream happened on a day where it isn't Shatter, because I don't like Shatter. So yeah, we're primarily going to be doing PvP for mock tomes, but it's going to be like not like super high intensity. We're just going to go there and have fun. We might not win much, but that's okay. Also, hey Coco, and hey, I Symbols, and Sip is also in the chat, and hey me, who else? I hope you're doing well. So remember also, so if you are not completely through the MSQ, I believe that if you're on the free trial, you cannot do PvP. Like, you just can't queue for PvP at all, as far as I know. So just keep that in mind. If you're on the free trial, so that means you're limited to at most Heavensward content, I'm pretty sure that your best option is like Castrum? I'm pretty sure it's Castrum. Devil says you can do PvP on the free trial. Oh, well, that solves that. I've been told that you can't. But excellent. If you can do PvP, go for it. But yeah, then let me change that to, if you are on the free trial and you don't want to do PvP, then your best option is probably Castrum Meridianum. The reason being that you can finish this in under 16 minutes. You can. Not saying all groups will be able to do that, but you can. Which means that it is fine. Sip says, it isn't on the free trial. Oh yeah, right! Now I remember, someone on the free trial went and unlocked Frontline on the free trial. It was right there, like this, so you can just click it and queue it. But when they queued for it, it just cancelled and said, you can't do that. Like, you can unlock it, but you can't actually play it. Which makes it very confusing. Also, hey Aria, a Siren, and CI symbol says I'm Slime on Discord. I just don't have all my account usernames matched up. Fair enough. By the way, you can pretty easily change your YouTube name if you want. It's somewhere in the settings. Exactly, Phil. I believe Kitsu was the one that did that. It's really strange that they allow you to do that, but that's the thing. Yeah. Anyway, point is, if you have access to everything in the game, then Rival Wings, Frontline, P1, and like the current Unreal is probably good options. If you don't want to PvP, then well, then that removes the PvP options. And if you're on the free trial, then your options are basically Castrum Meridianum. So my recommendation on that front is if you think any of the rewards from the main scenario roulette is good, do that. You might get Porta de Comana, which is like disaster because it is the worst one of the three. The second best of the three is Praetorium, because I believe you can beat it in 30 minutes, but you can absolutely beat Castrum in under 16 minutes, and 30 minutes is slower than under 16 minutes. Ryan says Castrum usually takes 16 minutes, while Praetorium takes 27. I'm pretty sure it usually takes 30. I've had Castrum done in strictly under 16 minutes, like 15 minutes or less, and 15 minutes for 8 is better than 14 and 27 minutes, if you don't include the queue time in between. But if they're that close, as Ryan or Reen here suggests, then it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you don't get Porta de Comana, because that one takes like 16 minutes, and it gives less than Castrum, so you don't want that one. But if you find the main scenario roulette, the rewards there are something that you want, go for it. If you don't care about that, then just like queue for whichever one of these you prefer. If you feel poetics are helpful, that also plays a factor. Technically, I'm pretty sure 100 for 16 minutes is more valuable than 150 in 27 minutes. Because you would be able to do 2 runs that would give you 100 in 32 minutes. So that's probably slightly more effective. So that's also something to consider. Also, hey Reneza, I'll join PvP after this A rank train. I think what we're going to do with PvP is that, so if you want to join for PvP, you can join up with me. Just keep in mind that we can actually only queue for Frontline with a group of 4 players. But if we are more than 4 players, and you have to make me aware that you're joining by being here at my house specifically, so that I know that you're coming. Let me just write that down. If you are here and you want to join, we can try to like align it so that we're queuing together. So I'll do something like saying, we'll figure out what the approximately what the stream delay is, and then I'll say queue when I say this, and then we all queue together, and then there's a bigger chance that we land in the same match. But we are not necessarily landing on the same team, so just keep that in mind. You might not be on my team. But that way we can bring multiple groups of 4 players in. And that's actually a pretty normal way that people do that sometimes. But yeah, that is the plan, that we'll mainly just be doing PvP matches. And I've made sure that today's PvP is not Shatter. I know that a lot of people don't like Shatter, me included, so hopefully that is something that people appreciate. Hey Tristan, I hope you're doing well. Hey Jet, I hope you're doing well as well. He be farming. Right, I do think that it is about time that we start. So if you want to join for PvP, just like, you see we are 5 people in my garden here, but if you want to come along for PvP, just come over to me. Just walk over to me and I'll invite you. And if you are not at my house and you also want to join, make your way to my house if you can. You can see where it is in the pinned message in the stream chat. Then we will just like do runs, and in between runs, if we're more than 4, I'll try to do my best to make sure that we like queue in together. And I can't guarantee that we land in the same match, and I can't guarantee that we land on the same team, but we can increase the odds. And worst case scenario, you're enjoying some Frontline while I'm enjoying some Frontline, so we can enjoy it together, even though we're not there together. So I'm getting the impression that no one wants to join me for Frontline. That's fair. Or is the delay very long? Is the delay very long? It doesn't seem like the delay is super long. Hey Lemon, I hope you're doing well. Well, we have 4. And then we'll see what we do if we start getting to have more people. And this both serves as a chill Moktum farming, where you're just to be clear, we can still talk about whatever. Like if there's something you want to ask about, talk about, we can still do that, even though I'm doing PvP. Don't worry about it. We're just doing PvP for the Moktoms this time. That might also serve as like a light introduction to Frontline for some players, because like PvP can be very weird or obscure. If you have never done it before. It can also be very scary. What job will I play? It's C's. So let's play Ninja. That's fun. Oh, and just a tip, don't queue this one. Make sure you queue this one. It's not a roulette, you'll always land in C's anyway. The difference is that you miss out on the daily rewards if you don't queue like this first. Just keep that in mind. And the trick with Frontline is the job that gets the daily XP and all that is the job that you queue in as. But once you enter, there's nothing preventing you from changing to a different job. So like if you only feel comfortable PvPing as Scholar, for example, you only want to PvP as Scholar, you can just like go, well, I want the XP on my Ninja. You just queue in as Ninja. Then when the match begins, you're just standing in the circle waiting for the timer to tick down. You switch to Scholar, and then you will still get the XP for your Ninja. It's pretty smart. That is a way to level a job without ever playing it. Just keep in mind that you need the job crystal to queue in as something, and obviously you can't queue in as a crafter or gatherer or a blue mage. Slime says my knowledge of PvP is I did the quest to check out Wolf's Den. And also I have watched over my girlfriend's shoulder as she plays Crystalline Conflict. A key difference between Crystalline Conflict and Frontline is that Crystalline Conflict is very structured, and you failing is 20% of the team failing, which means that you making a crucial mistake early on can lose you the match like that. While in Frontline, you're 1 out of 24 players, and there's a lot of randomness. Like, a lot of random factors. So sometimes it's not even your fault if you lose. A Like, it's not even your team's fault, it's just that the cards landed in such a way that your team had a severe disadvantage. Like, for example, in my opinion, starting in the bottom left is a massive disadvantage because top and bottom right has this meta of just charging over here, which means that we get a lot more like fighting, and because of a mechanic called battle high, you typically want that, whereas the bottom left side kind of has to like figure out a way to engage in that from their side. So like that is just one way that you might be at a disadvantage from the very beginning of the match. But sometimes if a lot of nodes spawn in the left side, it might actually be advantageous to be over there. But that's a random detail, right? Like that is luck going, we actually decided that left just gets an easier time this time. So there's a lot of randomness, which means that you don't need to fear being bad at PvP. Like, it's a very, very mild introduction to PvP. You're going to die a lot when you're learning it. The good players specifically target the weaker players if they can, because Battle High promotes that. Like, you do more damage if you can accumulate kills and stuff. And quite dangerous to be weak because of that. But you can, like, the best you can do is, like, learn. Yeah. And Orkney and Geisel said, that they level jobs entirely, or at least significantly through that. Why? Where are we? Oh, they just left it? So we just get it for free? Nice. But yeah, I highly recommend, if you want to try PvP, do Frontline first, even though it feels like it's just utter chaos. It's good, because the chaos means that it doesn't actually matter that much if you fail a lot. Because no one will be sure whether you actually lost because of being bad or being unlucky. As I says, have you tried watching the Crystalline Conflict tournament gameplay from FanFest? I have not seen that, but I have seen a little bit of like tournament play. I know that the tournament Crystalline Conflict is a completely different beast compared to like just random ranked PvP. Nope, that wasn't worth it. Ah. The Dark Knight used their limit break, making them invulnerable. Just as I used my limit break to try and instantly kill them. And then we had to, like, escape because we're getting sandwiched between blue and yellow. Yeah, I haven't watched the very much like tournament play, but I know a little bit about it. Hey Erika, I hope you're doing well. Ooh. Oh, it's another ninja. It's going to be an awkward exchange. Oh, we're winning, it seems. There's a random blue player here, is that right? So little tip is also that in Frontline, basically all melee jobs take half damage from everything compared to Crystalline Conflict. All ranged only take 25% less, with Red Mage and Dancer taking 35% less. But what this means is that all melee jobs, if you would be in a fair matchup in Crystalline Conflict with a job, like a melee versus a ranged, in Frontline, it is almost guaranteed that in a 1v1 exchange, the melee job just wins. Because they have this extra damage reduction advantage. Ah. You spent an hour hunting down gear to make Renoa from FF8. Oh, nice. Did it turn out well? Can we get those? Even? No mount. No. You just need jet black dye. That that sounds like an expensive venture. Was he bluffing? He just walked up and then didn't limit break. Nope. Warrior out of position. Oh, that's bad. I had a feeling he was baiting. So the reason why that is dangerous is because Samurai in Frontline, their limit break, if you hit them while they're using a specific action, they can one-shot you as the response. And then that was the debuff that I received, that I hit the Samurai in the danger time where you don't want to do that. And then I just, like, I jumped into invisibility to just make sure he couldn't target me specifically with it. Ah! Healed right as I clicked the limit break. I should have used limit break on the ninja. That seemed to be more a safer choice. Oh well. That is another bait. I'm pretty sure. Oh, careful. It's a very up in the air situation here. Everyone wants the node in the middle. Oh, there's a node on the coast. Maybe you should just go for that. No, you do not get to limit break us. I'll just kill you first. Oh, and the battle has moved over here with a new node. That makes sense. He appeared to be bluffing. Oh. Random crowd control with no follow-up. Oh boy. I think there are some pre-mates. Oh, you didn't heal. I really want this Astrologian dead. And that guy. So you can see next to the player names that they have like this flag, like I have like this little tag next to their name. The more red it is, like the closer to red it is, the more damage they do. That is this battle high flag. For every 20 points you have in it, you just do 10% more damage. And healing, which also means you're more difficult to actually kill. While simultaneously doing way more damage. Like, it's actually scary to fight someone with really high battle high because of that. But you also lose half of your battle high if you die, so often the guys with really high battle high will play extremely defensively, and they're more likely to run early if they don't trust that it's safe. So sometimes you can take the chance and play in a more risky way. Because they are not going to risk it while you can. If your battle high is not very high, of course. Well, so far we're in second place. No, you don't get to leave after that. I was really hoping we could get that warrior. Hey, a knockout for me. I think... I'm not entirely sure. It might actually be yellow who's winning because they just got two very nice points at the same time. So now we're behind. Like, incredibly hard. Oh, we have 2 points now. We just need to hold them. The bigger problem is that yellow got the 5-star. Or the S rank, so to speak. That samurai was very good at surviving. So they wasted a lot of time for a lot of people. And he didn't really turn it into anything. He just kind of lived for as long as he possibly could. Weird. Oh, here comes the big explosion. Oh, blue one. But that was a very close match. It also took 15 minutes, so that was actually not very good. Slightly longer than we'd hoped. But that's fine. Right. Lars is here. So, do we do the double queue together, or is there anyone that specifically... So I know Zip said he joined me because we had an extra seat. So I don't know if Mouse is fine with queuing together with us, or if you want to do it differently. You can also see Kerix out in the distance. So I guess I'm going to make sure that we're queuing together for those that want to. So, if I can get some help from the chat real quick. When you hear me say go after this time, just say something in the chat. So like prepare a message where you go like then, like now, or go, or something. And then you just say that when I say it. So I say go. Nice. Okay. That seemed like 2 or 3 seconds. So I'll give it like 3 seconds of delay when I say let's queue together. Dressarian says, for someone new to Frontline, which jobs would you suggest playing? It's very difficult. What I would recommend is you go to Wolf's Den Pierre, check this, like check the toolkit that you have. Take note that this down here, like these 5 buttons, are the same for all jobs. So like, you don't have to think about those. What you should think about is, do I understand, like at a glance, somewhat how to use the buttons that I'm given? Like, do I have an idea of what I could do with them so that they don't like sit on the cooldown and never get used? And secondly, do you understand how to use your limit break? Because you're supposed to use your limit break a lot. Like, in Crystalline Conflict, sometimes it can be helpful to take note that it can be helpful to what was I saying? In Crystalline Conflict, it can be helpful to actually stack like limit breaks together, so that like you have some sort of team combo if you can do that. And that means that sometimes you don't want to use your limit break immediately, but in most situations you want to make sure you're using your limit break as often as possible, because if you're not using it, it's just sitting there. Like, think about it like PvE stuff. If you have a 1-minute cooldown that you're just sitting on because what if I need it for something? Well, if you don't use it, then you're losing out on users, right? So you don't want to do that. But there's a difference between just aggressively clicking the button whenever it's available and using it strategically. For example, just to give one random example of how you could make use of it, Scholar has this game plan of applying the dot to the enemy, but if you use Adlocurium on yourself first, then it does 8% more damage. If you use Expedient before that, then it does 50% more damage. Those two things stack. So you typically want to go Adlocurium on yourself, Expedient, run up, bio something, and then deployment tactics to spread it to a bunch of enemies. But if your limit break is ready, you can 15 seconds later, when bio is ready again, you can just plop down your Seraph somewhere. You don't even need it defensively, maybe, but it gives the same buff as Expedient, so that way you can do bio again and deployment tactics again to, like, keep up the pressure with the strong dot. And then 15 seconds after that, well, Expedient is ready again, so you can do Expedient bio deployment tactics again. And, like, through all this, you're repeatedly reapplying your Adlocurium to keep up the damage buff. And that way you can apply a lot of pressure. But by doing that, you're using Expedient for the damage bonus, not really the movement speed, and you're using Summon Seraph for the damage bonus and not really the healing. So, like, it has a kind of, like, backwards understanding of how to use them, because you're using two utility buttons for their side effect of making you do more damage. Instead of doing it in a way that makes you, like, better defensively. So that's just one example of how you can do it. It doesn't like, all the jobs have, like, special tricks up their sleeves. Like, choose a job that you think looks cool. Remember, jobs play completely differently in PvP. So, like, check the toolkit of the job that you think looks interesting. See if you have, like, a general understanding of how it's supposed to work. And if you do, try it. The worst that can happen is that you don't like it. If you don't have any battle high, so, like, you have 0 battle high and you die, switching job has 2 downsides in Frontline. The first one is, I'm pretty sure it sets your battle high down to 0. I'm pretty sure. And it resets your limit break. So, but the thing is, if you're testing out jobs, then you might not be losing very much, right? So just keep that in mind. Machinist, you just get a very big gun. Did Carricks queue on their own? Yeah, White Mage also has a really funny gimmick, because their limit break is a 40 yalm long laser beam. Very fun. Yes, 40. Just to consider, Adlocurium in PvE has a 30 yalm range. So let me just demonstrate. So Gelano's over there. This is 30 yalms. That's from where I am to over there. That's 30 yalms. Just add like a third to that. Then you have the laser beam. There's a possibility you can't even see the beam coming. Like, sometimes you just get stunned from an attack off screen. Super fun. Right, so let me do a ready check. That of course means those that want to, like, queue with me should get ready to do the queue thing. And then I will say go, and then count to 3, and then I'll click join. So, go. And then we hope that we all queued together. I have a feeling we didn't. Smart using the tall one for distance. Well, I won't know for sure whether people got in. I'm guessing it's Sip and Mars. Looking at the looking at the FC chat, I have a feeling that they didn't get in with us. Oh well. Next, we'll get him next time. If you queue really fast, you might be able to get into a separate match before, so that we can each get our own matches. And I'm of course going as Scholar to try and demonstrate what I was talking about just before. So one thing, let me just give some advice for Scholar that I'm playing. You can't do anything on your own. You do not have the power to finish a fight. So you should not try to pick a fight. You don't want to 1v1 anyone. You basically want to just run around with the rest of the players in your group. Like, just run with the blob, so to speak. And then you do this move. And then you hope you hit a bunch of people. And then you just run away. And the only time you... the only time you actually want to engage something is if you're confident that you're safe. Other than that, you kind of just leave. And you don't actually want to play. So that means we're running instead of letting ourselves get caught up by red right now. So shield up, expedient. That black mage looks tasty. Deployment tactics, nice. Oh, yellow's coming in from the side. Can we get away from this? We probably can't. The best we can do is try and run through them. We can't. I mean... that is a weird start to a match. We got the 5-star, but now we're, like, stranded on the beach, ironically. That was not part of the plan. But now that we are on the outer side of the sandwich, we might be able to turn this around. That Machinist isn't going to kill me without help. Oh, those are all not doing very well. Here's an interesting little detail about dots. Have you ever heard about dot snapshotting? Basically, if you apply a dot, but then they use a defensive cooldown, the dot will still do full damage. Because it took a snapshot of your damage reduction when it was applied. So if you're in PvP and someone puts a mean dot on you and you feel like you're slowly dying, guarding is not going to help you. You are still going to die. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You're about to die. You don't want to hang out near the scholar. The scholar will just see it as free kills. Look, white mage laser beam. Ow. We should probably start pulling out of this, guys. Hopefully you can make it. Don't. Ah. Sorry, I made a grave error in my estimations. And realized we were severely out of position far too late. We'll get him next time. But that is also a pretty good demonstration of Scholar when you're not near your party. We could only run. Also, now we're in trouble because we're cut off from our team, I think. Or is that our team? Not entirely. Just dot it up and run. The best we can do right now is bait them away, but that is really unlucky. They could have gone for either one of us, and they just decided specifically you were the tastiest among us. Hmm. Oh, someone died apparently. Someone out in the distance had my dot ticking on them and then they died. Why is Red here? What are they doing here? There is no points to be had here. Hmm. Ooh. Nice. Ow. Oh, it's because they were defending that point, apparently. This is a weird place to be fighting right now. But I'm dead again. I think I'm very out of practice with Scholar. Or our team is randomly like getting too far away from each other. But I'm sorry that I'm ending up demonstrating how to play Scholar by showing how it's not done rather than showing how it is done. Hopefully I'll do better in the next match. That is a difficult point to take if all the enemies are ready for us. No, come back! You must die! There you go. Spread a little plague on all the enemies. Oh, I killed someone apparently. I think I killed two, in fact, given how much battle high I just got. Well, maybe we can do that again. That's a lot of people. Oh, that was 4 assists, 5 assists, 6 assists. That's pretty good, pretty effective. I don't know why we're here. There's no nodes to speak of. We shouldn't be here, but apparently we're just trouncing yellow into the dirt right now. So there's some reds fighting us up there. Maybe we can help that get resolved. I'd rather do that because there's more teammates there. That's safer. It's just a random dragoon there. Okay, for a second there, I thought I hit no one with my big AoE. Crap. I don't want to be here anymore. I've actually decided I don't want to be here. I feel safer not being there. That's Samurai's baiting. There's a limit break coming. Or maybe not. Oh, that's why everyone's coming this way. It's because there's a new node. Ow, 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 ow. Interesting move. There's a little yellow strike force over there. Oh, there's a shrank. There's an S rank over there. We want the shrank. Can we get the shrank? Is that an option? Is that something we can have specifically? The shrank for the blue team. That shrank. Might not actually be safe to do it like this. There's a lot of limit breaks coming out. I'm just going to bail on that. I can come back in a moment. I'd rather be on the attacking side of that exchange. Like this. Okay, didn't get to deploy that. Ah! I had to stay for too long because I ran in too early. My dot wasn't ready, but I thought it was. I think this match is over. Yellow is going to win from these points alone. They basically will win if no one does anything, and most of our team is caught up over here, so Yellow will just win by doing nothing. And the reason why I'm saying that and not going towards Yellow is because, as I said before, Scholar can't really do anything on their own. Exactly, Slime. It's just chaos. Also, by the way, speaking of chaos, I just want to point out, despite us being in third place, I did nearly twice the damage as the person with the second most damage. Because Scholar's weird like that. It's Scholar. I'm pretty sure the way that happened is when we had the big exchange we had in the cave over here, where both enemy teams were just like overlapped, so I just like dropped like just a dot on everything there. I'm pretty confident that was several hundred thousands of damage. Yeah, only half of my damage. Wow. Weak. But yeah, that is actually also a very good demonstration of, if you've looked at the roles in Final Fantasy XIV and thought, well, if I queue PvP as a scholar, I'm a healer, so I should be healing, but then you look at the toolkit, the toolkit that scholar has, and you're like, your healing as a scholar amounts to this, and this, and this. That's it. Like, you can't even heal someone halfway to full. Like, you can't do anything in that regard. Scholar is actually like a support job, more so than a healer or a DPS. And the way that works, just to finish on that, is that at Locurium, when you spread it with deployment tactics, makes, like, it gives a 6000 HP shield to everyone in your party, but it also makes all those players do 8% more damage. On the other side of the fence, your dot also reduces the damage your target does by 8%, and you can spread that with deployment tactics as well. So combining Ad Locurium and Biolysis actually gives like an approximately 16% power difference between your party and the enemy party, which is more accurate in crystalline conflict, because the key thing is that the reason why in Frontline you're so extremely focused on Biolysis is because it hits everyone, like actually everyone that is in range, whereas Ad Locurium is only spread to your party. And remember, you're an alliance of 24 players. The 16 players that are not in your party is not affected by Ad Locurium deployment tactics. In Crystalline Conflict, it's 5 versus 5, so when you use Ad Locurium deployment tactics, it's everyone that is nearby you. And we use Biolysis deployment tactics, it's everyone nearby them. The key thing is also that Ad Locurium deployment tactics is a 6000 HP shield and an 8% damage gain, whereas Biolysis deployment tactics is, well, when you use it with Expedient, it's around 22.5 thousand damage and 8% damage reduction. It's like you're actually just smacking someone for close to half or at least a third of their HP by just going Expedient Biolysis deployment tactics. If you're doing deployment tactics and you hit everyone, well, you're doing enough damage to just kill a person off in total, just spread equally on the enemy team in Crystalline Conflict. In Frontline, you're typically not killing anyone with it, and that's why Scholar can't do very much in Frontline on their own, because the only thing you can do is you can like do the initial pressure on someone to try and force them to spend some healing, and you also give everyone attacking the person the advantage of taking less damage in return. But you yourself aren't doing very much damage after that. Like, yeah, you can spam Broil on them, but that's actually pretty weak. So like, that's the reason why Scholar's gameplay is very much Ad Locurium on yourself, Biolysis on someone, well, Expedient Biolysis on someone, then deployment tactics. And then you're kind of just trying to survive, and the reason for that is that you being alive to use Biolysis deployment tactics from a safe position again is going to be worth more than the about 6 broils you could have cast in that time if you just stood still and attacked. Like, if you can do both, but safety first. The advantage of being able to do so much damage by just snapping your finger is very, very powerful. That is correct, Slime. PvP jobs are so completely disconnected from their PvE equivalents that many jobs teach you nothing about how to play the job in PvE. There's some of them that like have like mild overlap. Like, for example, Paladin uses a 1-2-3 combo, which allows them to use Atonement, and if you use your like actions correctly, you can do Atonement 3 times in a row. Like, you can do things like that. And you also have something equivalent to cover, but it's very, very different. I think the best example of how different a job can be is Dark Knight. They spent their HP to attack. You just just cost a fifth of your HP to use an attack. And a different attack does more damage the less HP you have. That's why you keep seeing the Dark Knights running around with like no HP. It's both because they spend HP to attack and they do more damage if they're low on HP. And their limit break just throws all of their HP out the window. Like they literally just grab their HP and just throws it at you in a way. Rutharian says, what is the Dark Knight Glamour chest piece? Well, it's my general tank chest piece. It's, let's see which set is it. Here it is. Replica Heavy High Elegant Coat. You can craft it. Right. So Mars went to bed. But that still means that we're 5. So I'm still going to try and time it so that Sip can join us. But this time I'm going to make sure that he's actually ready. So just asking him. I can actually also just give an in-game reminder to him on top of queuing, so that there's a bigger chance that he queues at the same time as us. I should also do another ready check. I actually really like playing Gunbreaker in PvP. Right, so everyone is ready. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'll say go, wait 3 seconds, and then I'll queue. That is actually a pretty good idea. Gazel came with a really good idea. You can see the Eorzea time in the top right. That one, if you specifically set it to ET, then we can actually like set our clocks. So if I, for example, say that we will, I'm not doing that, but let's say I said we queue when it says 9:15, then you just click join when it says 9:15. Are you ready for that, Seb? Like, if I do that, are you ready for me doing that? That is actually really smart, Gazel. Thank you. That was a very good idea. So I'm going to queue at 9:30 ET, so that's in like 30 seconds or so. So just get ready for that. That is probably a lot more effective. Hey, Ymir. I hope you're doing well. And hey, Angel. I hope you're doing well as well. And now. now. So what we're doing for Ymir and Angel that just came in, we're trying to align our clocks so that we queue together. And, well, we can do that in many different ways, but Gazel came with a genius idea of saying just queue at the same time, as it says on ET. You just got off work and see a Kai stream. Well, I'm glad to have you, Ymir, and I hope you had a good day at work. We're just doing some PvP for Moctomes, and if you want to join up, anyone in the chat, if you want to join up, of course you need to be in the EU data center, either Light or Chaos, and then you just visit Louisoix, and then you come to like my house. My house's plot and ward is pinned in the live chat. So you just come over here so that I know you want to join, and then we will set our watches so that we all queue together. And the reason why we're doing that is because you can only queue as 4 players at a time for Frontline. So that is why we're doing it like that. It might sound a little weird, be a little strange that we're not just in the same group, but that is basically the best way. That does of course also mean that there's no guarantee that we're actually landing on the same team. there's actually also no guarantee that we land in the same match, but since we queued at the same time, and the queue didn't pop instantly, there's a reasonable chance that we're going to land in the same match. And then there's a chance that we land together. Your feet are killing you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Gazel says, imagine if you could queue with a pre-made alliance. Imagine if you could queue with a pre-made 8-man party. I'm just saying, have you seen the chaos like a strategically put together 4-man party can wreak in Frontline? Like, there are some matches that are won off the back of just a 4-man party just carrying. So imagine if you could bring 8, let alone like 24. It's probably for the best that you can't queue with more than that. Emil says I have flat feet, so I'm used to it. Yeah, me too, actually. It's the worst. Genuinely, I have that too. I totally understand. It sucks. Stand around too long, and then feet hurt for the rest of the day. Well, it appears we have not acquired a sip. Whoops. Are you colorblind as well? I am not colorblind. I'm pretty sure I'm not colorblind. You often get surprised. You go like, oh, well, those two things are the same color, right? And someone goes, no. No, they're not. And you suddenly have a life revelation. So we have a pretty good, we have a pretty confident sip on another team. So look out for a purple-wearing Lala with white hair. And we'll see what team he is on. And we of course have the awkward cave team. With a cave team. Me looking at my grey shirt. Yup, that is green. Looks green to me. Oh boy, that is a rough start. But it could be better. Another one. Another. That's Sip. We got Sip. Yeah, we got him. I think this is our cue to leave. We're getting very overwhelmed from both sides. Hey! Ow, 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 ow. Oh, thank you! Thank you, random monk. And thank you, random citizen. I would have died there if that monk didn't just smack me into safety. 100% I would have died. Run, 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 run. We shouldn't fight here. There's way better spots away from this. Bruh. That 40 laser beam? Anyone? Hi! Hello, white mage! Anyone else? Can we have the node? Is this a little scary? Oh, I don't have any more. Yeah, you know what? Sure, give me the tank mode. Thank you. I can't approach all that. Hey, Honey Ali. Yes, this is PvP. Oh, red is incoming in the north. Oh, nope, 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 the other way. Nope. Rotharian says, is there a generic combo? I mean, if you can grab a DPS junction, rough divide, and then limit break, and then when you finish limit break when you wanna like finish off someone, like so, and double down blasting zone. And I think that's the best you can do, and you can see it didn't kill him. But that is as powerful as you can get it. And the reason why you want to do it like that is because when you finish your limit break, your GCD is ready. So you can immediately do double down, and then you can weave blasting zone. But I'm pretty sure the best you can do. Looks fun. I'm new to this game. I know which mode PvP. This is Frontline. That changes what map it is every day. So today it is Cease that we're playing. Oh, nice. I got a kill. Oh, that is a bait. I'm not tagging that samurai. Oh, that was indeed a bait. He is dead, though. Ah, the guard right at the moment when I double down. I was really hoping. Wait, why are we going this way? I actually don't want to fight here. I'm just... Hani Ali says, do you advise me to play PvP or ignore it till I finish the MSQ? Well, let's say PvP is like optional content. So if you feel like doing something other than MSQ, go for it. And, I heavily recommend and advise that if you feel that the MSQ is getting it's getting a little boring, you want to do a little something else, like mix things up and try something else. Do PvP. You can also like do a side quest. Like I really do recommend, if you feel like you're getting a little bored of the MSQ, to try something else instead of just going full blast only MSQ. Like you're going to burn yourself out probably. Where's the battle high five? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Yeah, try something else if you're feeling like trying something else. There's no reason to just go full send on only MSQ. You'll just burn yourself out. And the advantage of PvP is that it is drastically different from PvE, so it'll feel like it will actually mix things up a lot more. He quietly realized as he was guarding that I was actually going to like blast him through the guard. I did not care. Get back here, you! Come here! Come here! Come here! No, you're dead! Yes! See, battle high five! Can you break someone's guard? The short answer is no. The long answer is some jobs can. Monk's limit break does a certain amount of damage, and if the person is guarding, it just breaks their guard. But if they're not guarding, it just does more damage. So like, it can break the guard. Warrior's limit break disables guard for 15 seconds for all enemies around them, and also for themselves. And that also breaks guard if you're currently guarding. Some attacks hit through guarding. For example, Samurai's limit break can kill you, just flat out kill you through the guard. I need a tank right now, so I'll just do it on myself. We can't this. We need more people somehow we need more people, or we need people to engage. And I guess I have to be the one engaging. And the problem is we actually wanted to engage blue, but red really wants to engage us. So I guess red really, really wants blue to win right now. No. Oh, that was a ninja limit break. Oh well. The long answer is no. The short answer is no. The long answer is no. There's a few ways to go about dealing with guard. So some jobs can do something about a guard. So let me just go over it. Warrior can use their Primal Scream, which disables guard completely for everyone, all enemies around them for 15 seconds. It also gives you a buff that like makes you better in multiple ways, but specifically also disables guard. So it's like no one gets to guard in that time frame, although your party can of course still guard. The second one is Monk's Limit Break Meteor Drive here. Stun someone for around 3 seconds while also stunning yourself for 3 seconds. Does a lot of damage, and if the person isn't guarding, does even more damage, and if the person is guarding, it just deletes the guard. Another one is Dancer's Contra Dance charms everyone for 2 seconds in an area around them. That charms them through the guard. So if someone is guarding, they will just be interrupted in their guard, which technically is a guard break, right? Are there any other ones I'm thinking? Machinist's drill ignores guard. Like, so it just does full damage anyway. So it can just do 20,000 damage through a guard. Samurai's Minouchi here also ignores guard, but it does 10% of their current health. So if someone is guarding at nearly dead, it's not going to do very much. But if someone is guarding at full health, like anticipating damage, you can use it. The thing is that the 2-second stun is probably more helpful, so it's probably better to use this when they're not guarding. And then Zantetsuken ignores guard when dealing damage, so if you just use Zantetsuken raw as is, it'll do 24,000 damage to your target and then the players in the immediate vicinity of them, 5-yard radius. If you have used Hisat's Chiten and someone hit you, so they have the Kozuji debuff, if you use Zantetsuken on them, you will just do 100% of their maximum HP as damage. That it is 100% of max HP is actually quite important. The reason why that is important is because if you play, I think I'll just stay here. In PvP, each job has a specific amount of HP. I believe Warrior has 63,000. Dark Knight has 60,000. But if you use Zantetsuken on a Dark Knight with 60,000 HP, but they used TBN before that, which gives them an 8,000 HP shield, then you, the Samurai, will do 60,000 damage to the Dark Knight. So if the Dark Knight has full HP, unlikely, but sure, and an 8,000 HP shield, then the Dark Knight will live. I'll just survive it and be able to walk away from it. Very fun. Oh yeah, and finally regarding the Zantetsuken, on this channel it is commonly known as the Whoopsie. Because when you die to it, it's usually because you made an oopsie, or in fact a whoopsie, and attacked the wrong person at the wrong time. Also, hey Minoto, I hope you're doing well. The long answer is no. I love that. So the short answer is no. The long answer is no. That is actually a reference. It's actually pretty funny because earlier today someone wrote on my Wondrous Tales video, because I was like, is it worth like trying to farm for the 3-line? And the short answer is no, Lemao. And the long answer, they said, I was expecting you to actually just say no, Lemao again. The short answer is it worth it? No. The long answer, no, Lemao. So, just checking, just going to repeat it. If you want to join in on this PvP fun we're having here, the easiest way for us to all queue together is if you come over here, then you can, for example, party up with Sip so that he can queue for you. So that we have 2 groups running. Or you can queue on your own. I'll call out a specific time, a time that we will queue, and then we all click the queue button together. How long will you be streaming today? Well, at least for an hour and a half more from now. Ish. Something like that. Oh. Well, if Garrix has to leave, then... Well, I can invite Zip. And then it's just the 4 of us. What job should I play next? Any specific jobs you want to see in the chat? Hey Rust, hope you're doing well. Blue Mage. Machinist, Monk. I mean, we could start with Monk and then do Machinist. Right, it seems like it's just us 4, so I'll just queue us since we're all ready. I'm not the best at Monk in PvP, I'll say. The weakness of Monk in PvP is that Monk is like the genius at 1v1ing someone. In Frontline, you generally don't want to stay around if a monk is choosing to fight you, and just you. Like, if you're separated from your party and you see a monk, like, sprinting towards you in the distance, you want to run the other way. Because that monk knows they can beat you. It doesn't matter if you have more battle height than them. There's a pretty good chance that monk is gonna win. And it doesn't matter what job you are. Monk has the fastest GCD, obviously, and Monk just does a ridiculous amount of burst damage. So you might be like feeling like, oh, I'm winning this, and then the Monk gets to step 7 in their combo and just smacks you across the face for 18,000 damage or more. I believe Monk heals themselves a lot. They can. Their defensive cooldown, Riddle of Earth, is like just like a trigger button. You just click it, and then whenever you feel like it, you can just detonate it, and then it does a percentage of the damage you took as like reflected back at the enemy, and also heals the monk. Which means that if you're doing a huge amount of damage to the monk can just go Riddle of Earth, and if you don't kill them before they click Riddle of Earth again, they just go whoop, full health. You can try again, and that doesn't help when the monk can usually finish a fight rather quickly, so maybe you won't live to see Riddle of Earth being clicked again. Minato says, also speaking of monk, I'm in PvP, can we talk about that you can just toss a player around and smack them in the air? I mean, yeah. It is very interesting. The funny thing with Meteor Drive is in Crystalline Conflict, you can often use it to just, like, take someone out. I can just finish them. In Frontline, it is more that you can, like, stun lock someone and then just finish them, like, have your group finish them off, because you do way less damage in Frontline. And I don't think we can engage this very easily. There you go. I got to Phantom Rush, and then I just died. Hi. So the reason why I was just looking at the samurai for a bit there is that he had his chitin up, so I didn't want him to get that advantage. Smack, 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 smack. Another one. Phantom Rush. Dead. So I used Meteor Drive, my limit break, specifically because it breaks guard. So I used it specifically for that advantage. But the scary thing with Monk is that because we basically have no significant AoE damage, we don't want to run into like a big pile of people. You know, I actually also want to kill this dancer, you know? I'm trying extremely hard to kill steal this enemy monk. Like so. Wait, where did the monk go? Did he die as well? Oh, nice. teleports behind you. Whoop. Nope, Phantom Rush. Dead again. Oh, I don't want to fight that. That's a little, I need to be in an advantageous state, otherwise I don't want to fight. Oh, that's a lot of people. Can we? Uh-oh. Oh, I don't have the debuff, then I don't care. That's too much. That's way too much. Wow, that's a lot of players. Oh, nice! Just got the free kill there. So, Yumi and Phila are both saying they don't really understand what's going on, but it is pretty. So, the thing that is going on is mainly that the way that... Oh, I just managed to yoink that. Is that Monk's combo, like just the like #1 button, just does like... Yeah, I believe it's like 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, 6, and then 12,000 damage. So like every time you reach the step 7 in the combo, you can just use Rising Phoenix to increase that by 50%, and then you just smack someone for 18,000 damage. Well, before damage reduction, but that is one of the heaviest hitting attacks that can just come like out of nowhere. So it is very easy to surprise someone with a lot of damage by doing that. Oh, that is a lot. I can't see anything. Ow. I managed to get away from it. I'm pretty sure that was also thanks to Gazel's limit break there. It can come, as you say. Can we actually do something about this? Can I find an easy target? Hey, Ninja, you know what? I want to go over here. So the reason why I'm running through people before I'm using the Enlightenment is pretty much because Enlightenment knocks someone back. It does good damage, but if I can make it so that they get knocked in the wrong direction, then like I get way more time to pick them off. Oh, whoops. I was thinking I had to chase him down. I was gonna do that, but then he died midair. No limit break for you. I think he's going to get away after I did all that. I don't have anything left. I really tried, Seb. I really tried to make that magic happen, and it just didn't. Hey, Colorless Games. Thank you. Don't forget to give the stream a like. Thank you. That is very scary. That is very scary. Oh, wait, what? Did the blues just stop chasing us? What happened? Yeah, that was... I was so close to getting away from that. I think. I've fallen asleep watching your monk guide to hopefully dream about it and to hopefully get it in my brain. Well, I hope you do. Monk is very difficult. Yeah, my first death. It might get worse, because it seems like our group is very much out of position right now, and we're just getting smacked from both enemy teams. For some reason, they've just decided that we are the baddies, even though we're in last place. It's very, very difficult right now. Yeah, Monk isn't an easy job, neither in PvP or PvE, even though the very, very few buttons of your toolkit in PvP might suggest otherwise. No. No. There you go. Again, I was just sitting there waiting because the samurai had their whoopsie button going. Why are we fighting here? There's nothing here. Let's go to the other point. Yeah, I would say, Colorless Games, that Samurai is probably a lot easier to pick up compared to Monk. Simply because Monk goes a lot faster and has a lot more demands towards your attention to play it optimally. Did I hear whoopsie? Can I get a whoopsie? I don't think we're winning this match. So the thing is, in my opinion, because in PvP, in like 3-sided PvP like this, it can be difficult to know exactly what the best choice is at any given moment. In my opinion, if you're in last place, and there's a reasonable chance that you can like get second place before the match ends, then it is better that you do whatever it takes to get second place. Which means that because blue was in second place, like a decisive second place, we do not care about yellow, who's in first place at all, because we actually care a lot more about winning second place than keeping the game running, so that the actual second place has a chance of getting of gaining first place potentially. We just want the second place before the match ends. Which means that even though yellow should be the primary target, that is blue's problem because they were in second place. Like now it's our problem because we're in second place, but the only reason we're in second place is because we went, let the game just end. Like if we can get second place, it's good enough. If you've ever done Frontline and you've been wondering why third place is just going to town on your on second place and just ignoring first place, the reason for that is third place can just go, well, if second place wants a shot at winning, they have to focus first place and prevent them from winning. But if they do that, then third place can just steal points from second place from behind their back. And I mean, if the points are free to take, then third place will also take first place's nodes and stuff. Like, don't even care. Like, third place is all about getting the easiest points possible, whereas second place is about preventing first place from winning and trying to stay ahead from third place. But the problem is, when you're in third place like that, and when you're in second place like that, your attention is split because third place does not care about you. Not at all. If luck says that third place has an advantage in screwing you over in second place, they will do that. If the luck says that first place is the easier one to mess with, then third place will do that. Optimally anyway. Like, my point is, third place should not care about the actual state of the game. It's just where can we get some free points. And that's the entire game plan if you're in last place, in my opinion. There is the argument that if you can keep the game going by helping second place deal with first place, there's a better chance you can get first place. Or maybe second place can become first place and then you can take like original first place as second place. But like, point is, you should be super selfish. And yeah, this is PvP colorless games. That's why Monk feels a bit different or looks a bit different. Emir says, could you use the Blade job next? We can play Samurai a bit later. I promised we would also play Machinist. So we'll play Machinist and then Samurai. You just got to Heavensward. Oh. Sorry. Right, so Carix is back. If there's anyone else in the chat that plays on EU and you want to join up with PvP, then I'm going to say a time, like an Eorzea time, where I'm going to click Q. And all you have to do is make sure you've ticked Frontline, and then Q at that time. If you want to make sure you're like on team with some people in the stream, get over to my house. Come to my house. You can see my address in the pinned comment. You get over here, then Sip. Well, actually not. Well, I don't know. Sip, can you make group 2 again? Then I can pick up Kerix, who was in my group earlier, and then we can make a group 2. Is that fine? Raid your fridge. So I'll invite Kerix. If you invite Lese Operarius, Sip, so that you're in group together. Then we have the start of 2 groups. The delay on the stream is like 3 or 4 seconds, I think, based on what I saw earlier. It might be closer to 4 seconds, actually. Nick Van Damme says, Machinist feels so easy and rotational to hassle. Just keep up with... I just can keep up with Samurai. I just can keep up with Samurai and mess up all the time. Yeah, the thing is, Samurai... well, Machinist rotation is very strange when you're trying to optimize it. So, Lesser Operarius, Sip will invite you to a group, and then we queue together. The reason we're doing it like that is because you can only be 4 players in a party in Frontline. So we have to make multiple groups, and then we queue together. And the reason why we're making multiple groups like this is so that we have the highest chance of landing in groups together. The worst that can happen is that we end up on different teams, but we can still have fun despite that, hopefully. We could also spread it a bit more so that we're 2 3-man groups, but I don't know if that is important. Right, I will do a ready check. We do another match, and then maybe Ymir can join for the next match. Right. I will queue when the ET says 12:50. So 12:50. And I'll just click queue immediately, and you should do the same if you're an EU and you want to land possibly in the same match as me. And now. Slime says, Machinist rotation seems like it suffers from some weird breakpoints as you're leveling up to 50, but it is not really unique in that regard. So the weird thing with Machinist, if you're trying to play it optimally, is you want to use Hotshot on cooldown, but you also want to use Reassemble on Clean Shot on cooldown. But you also want to use Wildfire with Hypercharge on cooldown. The reason why that is a problem around level 50 is because Reassemble has a 55-second cooldown, Hotshot has a 40-second cooldown-ish, and Hypercharge takes 10 GCDs to become available. Which means that in an opener, you're in the awkward position of, do I just sit on Wildfire until I have a Hypercharge, or do I just use it and just get a bad Wildfire? And I'm actually not sure what the best choice is. And Reassemble isn't really solved until it reached I believe it's it's level 84 when it gets an extra charge. Hypercharge problem is solved at level 66 when you can just go boom 50 heat gauge when you start the battle, and every time you have Wildfire you can do it again. It's there's a bunch of quality of life that you get later down the line, which makes it feel very awkward as you level. For the most part it isn't such a big deal, because in a dungeon sense you can just stockpile heat gauge until you get to the first boss. you're in a dungeon, you just spam spread shot on the ads, and then you will have over 50 heat gauge by the time you reach the first boss, so you can start with wildfire. But in like a trial or something, you might be in the position that you can't. Like you don't get the heat gauge in time. And if you sit on wildfire and just wait, then you might actually lose out on a wildfire use over the course of a fight. That is also a good argument, Gazel, that maybe you just want to hold on to it so you don't build bad muscle memory. That is also an option. As I said, I don't know entirely what the best option is. So in PvP, Machinist is a little different. The core difference is that you have this bishop auto turret you can drop down. You just plant it somewhere and then it just does damage and makes enemies take more damage and makes allies like get a shield. It's very good. So you can use it defensively or offensively. Analysis allows you to improve your next tool, but you only get one tool for every, you only get one analysis for every 2 tools you use. So you actually have to like think about what you're spending it on. Well, you would have to think about it, but spending it on drill is almost always the best decision. So that is like already one of them. And then there's also the part that your tools actually just that is they just switch in an order, so you just have to make the most of what tool you have at the moment. And also your basic attack has a cast time. But the Machinist limit break is designed to just like pick someone off. Also, it seems that we landed on the same team this time. Uh-oh. I didn't even realize yellow was coming in from the side. I've also forgot to switch my UI. Your Machinist is very different in PvP. And I don't play Machinist very much in PvP. Why is everyone running? Why are you running away? Why are you running? Oh, whoops. Oh, still got an assist. I just accidentally threw my limit break at a random guy. Is that guy AFK? Oh, he's not. What's happening to red? They have no points. Oh, did I just get a double kill, or was that a triple kill? Ah. Grr. Dark Knight limit break, annoying. Did I limit break you guys? Or did you mean something else? Oh, got him! I was really not counting on that. Also, hey Kai, I hope you're doing well. Get back here, you! Slow! Take this! Ow. That is a... I think I got like 3 limit breaks on me there. They really didn't want me to escape. Wow. I got a Machinist limit break and a Red Mage limit break for certain. I didn't see the rest. But I certainly took a lot of damage. Oh, nice. I was really hoping I could line it up so that I could shoot both of them through each other like that. Mine. We cannot suffer this Machinist to live. Not after all they've done. Pew. Pew. Oh, now we run. We're not tanky enough to hang out, like, in the middle of the crossfire like this. Oh, another one. Yeah, I had a feeling the Dark Knight was trying to do that. He was just jumping in, sucking up everyone, and then using his limit break, but then he got interrupted by a stun, and then I just threw him away. No. No big limit break for you. He got back in and got something done, but it wasn't exactly what he was hoping for, I think. Drop more tribute. Oh, that was highly unnecessary. I just wasted my limit break because I was overkilling so hard. How does Dark Knight's limit break work? So you use it, it does like in a line in front and behind you. It does like AoE damage based on how much HP you had when you used it. And then you lose all of your HP except 1. And then for 10 seconds you can't die, and all of your attacks heal you for a lot. Like a huge, like you basically get 100% lifesteal for the duration. And then when the time is up, you can die again. The interesting thing is that your Blood Spiller attack that happens after you use Shadowbringer scales with how little HP you have. So if you're trying to kill someone, you actually want to like use Shadowbringer extremely aggressively to stay at low HP. You only want to have full HP when the effect is about to end. Oh, dead. I randomly targeted someone, saw that they didn't have a lot of HP left, and just went, well, I could probably limit break that. I could probably snipe that. Like, that Dragoon was killed off for the sole mistake of happening to be the one that I randomly tap targeted to. That was the only mistake they made. Ow. That was a big combo! Times, as we mentioned, that the kit composition can mess with how you expect, say, healers to function in PvP. Does the barrier direct healer distinction still hold up? Not really. Astrologian is the closest, I think, you get to like a healer, and then not really. White Mage can also heal quite a bit, but the key thing is that all 4 healers have extremely limited healing. I suppose Astrologian and White Mage have a lot more pure healing, and Scholar and Sage have more options in terms of barriers, but it's so little that it's not really that, it doesn't really work like that, I don't think. I can't see what's going on in this match right now. It's just pure chaos. Someone really wants us to move, it seems. We could turn the tide in this match by doing that. But yeah, basically all 4 healers have cooldowns on their healing, and the reason for that is that before the PvP rework, the way PvP was balanced, you could almost say, is that the team that had the most healers could often just win because they could just like brute force their way through all battles because you could just spam heals like you can in PvE. So they fixed that by, well, basically making it so that healers can't actually heal that much. They're forcing people to, like, they're making it so that the amount of healing you can do is greatly outmatched by the amount of damage you can do, regardless of what job you are. And that is good, because that ensures that a battle is always moving towards an end, you could say. Like, if you can do more healing than damage, then you will never lose. Like, if you've seen me solo a dungeon, like on these solo streams, usually I already know before like we even are even close to the battle like being over that whether I can win or not, because me winning is dependent on whether I can do more healing than the boss can do damage, because of the sheer length of the fight that is going to happen. It's basically the same in PvP. So that's why they've nerfed healers in that way. Yeah, that's true, Emi. I suppose you would have 2 of me on your friends list. We should try and engage yellow if we can. Oh, that's a little too many. I'm just going to focus on running. Because we can't fight all that. If we can get that point for just a little bit, we might win on the point. Oh, nope, we lost this rank, and there's a red guy just hanging out here, apparently. Stop them! Hold the line! Oh, I think yellow's winning. They also have a 4. So we're losing if we're just having people die. And there's a Dragoon limit break there. Yep. That was a good match. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep up the pressure for long enough. Sid writes in the Free Company chat, I feel yellow had a 4 stack. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did too. I'm guessing, just based on how they killed off people, that it was probably a Summoner, a Dark Knight, a Dancer, and something else. Let's see. I'm just going to go to Wolf's Den Pierre because I'm almost capped on wolf marks. Yeah, this is something we could do as well if we were like in the business of coordinating and playing like really try-hardy, but that would then require that people are playing like specific jobs and stuff, and I think that is not the way. That is not the way to introduce Frontline. Like, I feel like what makes this like a interesting is that we're looking at how Frontline will actually be for most players. That like you're just queuing in and then chaos. And sometimes that chaos is there is a pre-made on one of the other teams or your team that is playing it exceptionally well. If we start like coordinating everything, then we will see that. We can do that, but I'm not going to force it. Right, we're continuing. So Machinist, then Ymir requested that we play Samurai. We can do that. Slime says PvP tank seems like they have some fun in disruption. They do, but it depends. Gunbreaker is actually quite limited in their ability to disrupt. Oh, what's up, Gazel? Are you done for now? Thank you for coming, Gazel. That's all right. Right. So we have then we have 2 3-man teams. That's perfectly fine. I'm making a ready check. Well, so far we've gotten around 30 mock tomes in around 2 hours, with like some downtime. Notably, we have not met the expected win-lose rate, so that is probably the reason why. Right, I will queue us at 8:40 Eorzean time. And then we go again. I think we have time for like 2, maybe 3 matches. Something like that. So we'll do that. And... Ow. But yeah, what I meant by the kit composition can mess with your expectations of a job. The thing that I think is most important when you're going into PvP is just realizing that in PvP, all jobs are truly just DPS. Like, each job can do something specific, but like the only job among all of them that actually really qualifies as a tank, like in the way that they're actually preventing damage, is like Paladin. Because they can they can actually cover, and their limit break reduces the damage everyone else around them takes. The only healer that you could even argue comes close to being a healer, is either Astrologian or White Mage, mainly because they both have like burst healing they can bring, but not like healer amounts. Just they're kind of strong on healing. And that means that everyone else is like some spectrum between tanky or healery or damage. And there's also other things that you're looking for in a job. Like, for example, Warrior has very good crowd control. Very reliable AoE stun, and like if you've ever played World of Warcraft, Warrior has Death Grip. Basically enemy rescue, which is very scary. And you might be thinking, wait, but didn't Dark Knight also have a button that sucks in enemies around you? Yes, but Warriors has more range. Gazel says, I have difficulty with understanding how to play White Mage in PvP. Yeah, I think the best way to describe how to play White Mage in PvP is that you're sort of like a shot caller in a way. The reason for that is that you can use Miracle of Nature to completely shut down someone for 2 seconds. Doesn't sound like much, but in those 2 seconds, the person can't even press their Purify button, which normally would save them. So if you can catch someone with that, and everyone else is like ready to react on it, they're dead. I mean, yeah, Angel, if your group as a whole is ready to like pile on the AoE damage, then Dark Knight's suck is better, but the Warrior one is better at specifically like grabbing a specific target, whereas Dark Knight's is better at like just going in and then like just making sure the AoE attacks land. I mean, Slime, I can try Warrior next. As far as I know, I'm really bad at Warrior in PvP. Just as a little disclaimer, I'm really bad at Warrior. Looks like we landed on different teams. Oh well. Oh well. Sip says, why would World of Warcraft make use of the music band Death Grips? Well, the thing is, Angel, that picking off one guy typically requires very little, like, coordination from the team, whereas picking off a bunch of guys tends to require a lot of coordination from the team. Typically. So that's why Warriors might be more helpful in an uncoordinated team. But it's hard to say. Hard to say. it's not surprising that Dark Knight is like considered the best, like one of the best jobs in Frontline if you know how to play it. And that is both Rival Wings and Frontline. Well then, we should have ran to the middle ourselves. There's so much AoE happening right now. Can we do something here? Where did he go? Eh! I can hit you through the wall! Surprise! I can hit him without actually getting close to him. Oh, apparently I got the credit for the kill. Oh, I don't mind, Slime. I'm just playing the game. I can play anything. It was more to say I'm not great at it, so don't expect too much. Oh, well, you're dead. You're dead. Well, apparently not, because he had a big shield from his limit break. Awesome. Demonstration, your samurai limit break doesn't one-shot if the person has a big barrier. I think I'm dead, though. Oh boy. That's a lot of damage. Oh, someone actually decided to summon Phoenix. No one ever does that in PvP. It's usually just Bahamut and only Bahamut. That's pretty funny. So, a key thing with Samurai in PvP, I've mentioned this many times before, but the key thing with Samurai in Frontline is that in Crystalline Conflict, you can actually see the limit break bar on the enemy team, so you can actually see if the Samurai can limit break you if you hit them on their, like, when they use the Chichen buff. But in Frontline, you can't see it, so you basically, unless you just saw the Samurai use Limit Break, you kind of have to assume they have it every time they use it. You have to just assume that they're going to have it, because if you assume they don't have it, but they do, then you die. So what I saw there is that there's this whole army of players, and I was taking no damage because none of them wanted to risk. Just in case I had it, they didn't want to take the chance. It's pretty common that that happens, actually. Yeah, I don't have any more. I thought I had more healing left, but I didn't. What can we do? I'm not sure. We're a little split as far as I can see, because some are focusing on getting that point and some are trying to grab that point. we got a whoopsie. It's very easy for the samurai to set that up if you're in a losing position, like you're outnumbered. The enemies are way more likely to take the chance and hit you because they think maybe they can get you before your limit break can go off, but it's not worth it. Like if the samurai has the limit break, you're probably going to die, especially if the samurai sets it up right. Like the samurai can prevent you from stopping it in getting you. Yeah, got an assist somewhere. Nice. Boom! Oh, here comes the limit break, probably. Boom! I don't know how many I got, but I'm probably not getting away from this. I didn't see how many I got. Did anyone see how much I got there? Yeah, exactly. Worth it. You can't un-triple kill. I'm pretty sure it was a triple kill. You can't un-triple kill yourself. It doesn't even matter that we're getting second place because I got a double or triple kill. I'm pretty sure we got at least 2. Yeah, so part of the problem here is that in the chat, I just want to point out, in the chat throughout this, for like the over half of the match, half of our raid has been like, oh, yellow's winning, we need to stop them. And the other half is like, well, if we go for yellow, then red stabs us in the back, so we can't do that. And that means that half of the raid goes and fights red, and the other half of the raid goes and fights yellow. And because we're beating red, half of the raid can win an exchange with red. But we can't win an exchange with yellow only being half there, so basically the half going for yellow just feeds them every time we do it, and because we do that, we don't have a chance. But somehow we still made it to second place again. Right, so warrior then. Heh. Alright, Gerex, thank you for joining. Right. Well, despite us only getting second place, I got like 6 kills. I'm going to queue at 210. Sip suggested that we could move 2 people over to me so Sip can join alone, but I think this is fine that we're like, so that we don't all go in one and then there's one person that is left alone. I think this is better. And I'm sure you 3 find it way more entertaining to kill me than be on my side, right? And now. Lumia asked how is Ninja difficulty-wise? The Ninja has a lot of buttons because when you press the Kasatsu button, or I believe it's called 3 mudras in PvP, it changes all of your other buttons into jutsus. So like you need to get an overview of what all of them do. In my opinion, the best ones among them is Raiju, because you can stun someone twice with that, and Hyoshiranryu, because it does a lot of damage. And if you see like a big clump of players and you're like, I can't really go in and kill any of them, you can just throw Gokamekyaku at them and like drop a big dot on them. And if you're defending a node, then placing Doton under it can be very helpful. In my experience, that is a lot more helpful in Onsalakaya compared to Seal Rock. Because people are a lot more willing to like run up to the point and just try and sneak grab it in the middle of a fight in Unsalakaya, whereas they're not as likely to do that in Seal Rock, simply because in Seal Rock, well, someone can just steal it back. So like the risk isn't worth the reward. Whereas in Unsalakaya, if you get the node, it cannot be taken. Like, it's yours now. Rastus, I was killed by you. Oh. Well, hopefully we land on the same team. Or maybe we land in nothing at all. Everyone just going, don't want a PvP anymore. And I think this is a good time to do some Frontline, because part of the problem with the time I normally do these like hangout streams is that some players raid at the time where I start the stream. Especially Europeans will be like actually doing like statics. If they have a static, they're very likely to be savage raiding at the specific time where I start the stream. So we start a little bit earlier. But because of that, it means that if we start a little bit earlier where Europeans are not savage raiding, those savage raiders are more likely to be doing some, something more casual like Frontline. So we might have faster queues because of it. There's also the argument that the players that would be actively, competitively queuing for Frontline in some capacity would be doing that at raid time. So you can't win. But hey, a triple kill whoopsie. I think that's a pretty solid stream, despite us having not a single win for this entire stream. Not a single one. At least on my team, so... I don't know about your teams, maybe you were on the winning team, I didn't see that. But if you were, then me saying you shouldn't be on my team might actually be a good thing. Apparently my teams lose. Oh, so you won. Well, there you go. It doesn't appear that you would be on my team. I don't think you're a living cursed, Gilano. You're having fun. That's what matters. Well, it sounds like you're red team this time. Right. So the thing with Warrior is that it has a few attacks, Onslaught and Orogeny, that cost HP to use, but they also do more, like, so they cost current HP to use, but they also do more damage the more HP you had before you used them. So like, the more HP you invest in the attack, the more damage it does, but they also both have side effects. One increases the damage the target takes, the other one reduces the damage the enemies around you deal. But then you also have Bloodwetting, which is a 100% lifesteal for 4 GCDs. It's like, basically, you saw how insane... it might be that the Dark Knight's limit break might be more than 100%, but certainly, Warrior also has a lot of self-healing. It's just that Warrior doesn't have it in as overwhelming a package. Bonk. Oh, they left me alone. Oh, what is happening here? That is chaos. Chaos. How about this? One of those. Ah, they had Purify, so I couldn't do it. Oh, nice. Run away. Interesting move. I'll jump further into your team to confuse you. Bonk. Get back here and let me fell cleave you. This is a... Oh wait, there's a Shrank. And red team saw it first. Do we stay and defend? Or do we go for the Shrank? No reason to defend here anymore. Yoink. Punk. I don't think I can kill anything like this. Nope, I'm going down. Yeah, couldn't heal myself fast enough to get in a position where I could guard and sneak away. There's a little too much on me there. Now we're in a bad position. Yellow's getting everything down south, and red is just defending their spot, and, well, our team is already going top, so we can't really contest yellow. The problem is that yellow might come behind us now. I'm going this way around specifically to check for that. Hey Skywalker, how are you doing? Yeah, we're basically just spamming Frontline for Moktomes. We're not winning very much, but we're having fun. Yoink. We are heavily outnumbered. We should honestly run away from this. We don't want this. We don't want to actually play with red right now. We want to defend from yellow down south. Even better, because yellow's busy with red. So it seems they're a little split. And we might be able to take that. Good, Slime. Shrank. Get the shrank! Are we winning on players in the area? Hi! Take the point! Grab it! Yoink it! Take it! Oh! Punk. It can be difficult with Frontline. Generally, the way that I keep positive about it is that I typically, I try to play with my team, try to do the best I can. But I will favor an area where I can get kills, which is usually an advantageous position, way over necessarily playing to the objective. If my team isn't playing to the objective, then I don't care. Then I will also not play to the objective. Because just if you can just accumulate a lot of kills, you can win for your team just based on that, because getting kills gives your team points. So I'm basically just running around fighting for kills, and if it happens to mean that we win, then good for me. It's just a more fun way for me, at least. Hello. Oh, well, you don't have a Purify, so I'm just going to slow you and hold you. Wait, why are we fighting here? We should not fight there for the nodes when red is trying to sneak them from behind us. I'm going to sneak this one before I leave. Somehow I missed every one of them with my AoE there. So the positive there is that I had like 5 or 6 players just smacking away at me, and while they were smacking away at me, they were nowhere else on the map. Which means that I held up like a fourth of the red team. Like a solid 10. There's a monk there. Did you see that? Hey, sneaky monk. Hi. Hi. You are aware you're fighting right outside my base, right? You do realize that, surely. We did it! To finish the stream, we had a win! We did it! And even in 10 minutes, that is really good. I didn't do a lot of damage. Hey, Needlemere! Understandable, Ymir. White mage is terribly annoying in PvP. You know what? Let me just get some lights. There we go. So, the reason why White Mage can be a little annoying in PvP is specifically because of two things. There's two things. The first one is their limit break. Like a 2-second stun from like out in the distance. Like just, you don't even see it coming. It's ridiculous. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm actually pretty confident it used to be 50. Like I'm pretty sure it was nerfed to 40. That is annoying in its own right. It also has a 1-minute charge timer, so it's available all the time. Every time you have a battle in Frontline, there's a good chance the White Mage brought limit break. It's very annoying. But this is the most annoying button possibly in all of PvP. So it doesn't look like much. It turns the target into a little imp for 2 seconds. What that means is it is equivalent to a silence. In that, in PvP, silence prevents you from using actions. Like, all actions are disabled, except Purify. So, this button that allows you to just delete all debuffs on you, pretty much, doesn't work when... It does work when you have silence, so you can do nothing except Purify. But Miracle of Nature is a silence that prevents you from using Purify. So if it lands, so like if the white mage manages to connect this on you, the only thing you can do is run. Your only option is run. Which is a lot scarier. The reason why that is so annoying is because it is the only crowd control where your only counterplay is to already be counterplaying it. Because it doesn't work if you're guarding. Like, if you're already using this when the white mage uses Miracle of Nature on you, it fails. But the white mage can just wait for you to use guard first. That is what makes it so annoying. I just want to highlight that this button used... I'm pretty sure it used to last 3 seconds. Not 100% sure on that. It also used to have 25 yalms of range, if I remember correctly. Which means that the white mage could just be standing way up in the back of your team and just go, you die. And just, you in particular, you're going to die. Now it has a range of 10 yalms to balance it a bit. Just to put it into perspective, mummification is like the scholar's equivalent to such a button, like a really annoying button. But it's only 8 yalms. To balance it. So it makes sense that white mage would be very hated. In fact, I mentioned that in Frontline, all jobs have like a damage reduction effect on them, so that prevents you from taking as much damage as you would in Crystalline Conflict. The primary reason for that, and the primary reason why melee jobs have a way bigger damage reduction effect, is because in the first season, like right when they reworked PvP, that wasn't a thing. And Frontline just devolved into white mages and summoners. Why that? Because, well, imagine just 4 white mages just standing on top of each other. Why did I choose Paladin? White mage. 4 white mages just standing on top of each other and shooting a laser beam that does, well, a combined 72,000 damage across the, like, just down the lane. Everyone down that path just dies instantly. And there's no counterplay because you can't even see the white mage. And the same thing is true with summoners. A little shorter range, but summoning Bahamut, just planting Bahamut, also does the same damage. You just plant 4 of those on top of each other, boom, 72,000 damage. Yeah, that is the reason. Like, the reason you have all this damage reduction in Frontline is because white mages and summoners break the game. Otherwise, now, because of the damage reduction, people have just decided to use Dark Knights and Dragoons instead, because they are slightly more broken in a way. Ross says 2-2 on kills with Kai. Well, that is a decent kill Kai death ratio there. That's pretty good. Something Kai D ratio. That is pretty good. I really like that. So on the stream, we only did Frontline on the stream. We had a little bit of a like start to the stream. Where we were just talking about stuff, but we had 8 matches. If we had had 9 matches, we would have had a better average, but we already ruined it. Because we are supposed to have 3 wins out of 9 matches, but we already have 7 losses. Well, losses in the eye of Moktomes. We should have 3 wins and 6 combined 2nd and 3rd places on average, and we don't. So, yeah, not a very effective Moktome farm. But that's fine. We got, let's see, 7 losses is 42, and then 1 win is 52. Should be that, but it doesn't add up with the amount of Moktomes I started with, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I had a Frontline match yesterday, and that's what I'm mistaking. We probably only had 7 matches in total then. because then that would make it 46, and I'm pretty sure I started with 40. I think I have a note on that. Is I started with 40, so we had 7 matches and 1 win. That is actually even worse. That means we only won 1 out of 7. Well, that isn't actually even worse. It's just the same. Yeah. That was the last match. I think this is like when we have a little bit of a roundup on the stream. I hope you enjoyed some introduction to PvP stuff. Hopefully, if you are a little afraid of going into Frontline, this can serve as a little bit of a introduction. See that it's not scary. The worst that can happen is you die and you lose. And I spent the most of this stream losing, and a lot of it dying. I normally play better, in my opinion. Normally I can have a match where I don't die at all. But I didn't really have that here. But yeah, it's not scary. Very good place to get acquainted with PvP. I've heard that Rival Wings is also very fun. I've actually never tried it. But I have a feeling, this is a guess, but here's the thing. Frontline is commonly known. It is something that everyone knows exists, and a lot of people will do Frontline just for fun, and now that they know it gives mock tomes, they're even more likely to do it. Rival Wings, first of all, some people don't even realize they can scroll here. So Rival Wings, some players don't know it exists, and the people that actually play Rival Wings typically are the players that play it a lot. Yeah, as Coco said, it's like League of Legends, but not cancer. Fair enough. But what I was getting at is that the players you're going to find in Rival Wings are probably really good at it, except for those that picked it up because of mock tomes, of course. But there's probably a higher chance that you're going to meet the those 4-man pre-mates with a Dark Knight and an Astrologian and a Dancer to crowd control you. I can just stomp with. So it might be scary in that regard, but just like with Frontline, the worst that can happen is you die and you lose. But yeah, that also makes sense. It's only 2 teams. So by that metric, if we assume that there's an equal chance that you win and lose, probably not, because 2 teams means it is less random. But if it was, then the average Tomestone payout would be 8, because the probability of a draw is probably very low. So you could consider that. Yeah, Frontline is not scary. If you're not sure how to choose the job you want to play Frontline with, go to Wolf's Den Pierre. So there, your hotbar will be replaced with your PvP action. So make sure that your hotbars are set up correctly. Check here, find all your actions, put them on the bar, and see if you can understand how they work together. Whatever job it is, see if you can understand how it works together. Remember that your limit break is yours and only yours in PvP, so you use it whenever you feel like it, and my recommendation is lean towards using it a lot rather than saving it. Because you don't get a new one until you use it. View the limit break bar as a cooldown timer, rather than viewing it as a charge timer that you need to work your way up to. Use it if you see a good opportunity to use it. And when you have it, look for a good opportunity to use it. Slime says, did you change your targeting settings to do Frontline? Yes. So the reason why I do that is because so auto targeting, I go a little bit over this in my video about somewhat recent video about UI settings, but auto targeting, if you have it on line of sight, it will choose the thing that is it will basically go from here and then just find the first thing. It will ear a little bit towards something that is closer to you, but closest range will literally target whatever's closest to you. So if you're not targeting anything and there's a ninja just wailing on you, then you will automatically target that ninja so you can fight back. Similarly, I changed my this one to cone. The reason for that is ignore depth. For the most part, if you just tap to get a target, the first one might be the closest, but once you have a target, ignore depth will always go like from left to right. If you choose cone instead, then it will like, imagine like a cone in front of you, but it will also prefer targets that are closer to you first, which is a lot more helpful for like getting the target you're fighting. You might have seen throughout this stream that sometimes when I was like approaching someone, I would like turn my camera like this as I approached, which meant that when I press tab, I get specifically the dragoon that is on my screen. That works regardless of which targeting system you're using, but if you're doing that and like 3 people appear as you approach, the person that is closer will be chosen first. That is the reason why I change it. Normally when I'm playing PvE content, I prefer line of sight and ignore depth, and the reason for that is that in a dungeon, I find it easier to just like, if I'm a healer for example, I find it easier to just manually click the first target, and as I'm running, I'll angle my camera to the best of my ability so that the next target when I press tab is going to be the next one that I want to apply my dot to. So I can just like run with the tank and just dot each thing sequentially, and ignore depth gives a slightly more easily predictable order that the mobs will be targeted in, so you can sort of predict who you're targeting next, whereas a cone will sometimes be less predictable. But the thing is, in PvP, you want to target the closest thing to you in those situations usually, so you don't actually care about some certain order. You have a pretty good idea of what you're going to target when you're tab targeting. There are also many other things you can do with your targeting system to like make it right. I believe there's settings where you can hold a specific button to make targeting prefer specific types of targets. So you can like hold a button to prefer targeting allies and stuff like that. But that is typically more helpful for controller players, I think. Not necessarily, but primarily, I think. Plus minus says, I find Summoner is a nice pick for the clueless because you have big AoEs and traps. You're probably helping somewhat if you just go where confident people are and hit buttons. That's true. Just in Frontline, whether you're Summoner or anything else, it's a pretty good idea to just stick to the group. Like, just stick to the pack. Some jobs can play solo a bit better, but if you want a job that is, like, good to start with, it's not a bad take to choose one that is very reliant on your team, because that also teaches you that it doesn't work when you go away from your team. Summoner is really good in that situation. Like, Summoner isn't very good on their own, but they're very good at supporting others. And Scholar is also very good at supporting others. Weirdly, the 2 book jobs are very good in that regard. The scary thing that can make Summoner very difficult in PvP, more so in Crystalline Conflict, arguably, but it is the fact that you need to put down your summon every 90 seconds pretty much to be as valuable to your team as possible. Like, every time your limit break is about to be ready, you want to be like, okay, where's a good opportunity to use my limit break? Like, you don't necessarily want to use it exactly on cooldown, but the quicker you use it, the quicker you'll get it again. And combine that with Summoner being one of the squishiest jobs in PvP, and if you die, your summon just disappears. While if you're alive, your summon will stay around for 20 seconds to spam Astral Impulse or Fountain of Fire. I believe? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, wait, Fountain of Fire and Astral Impulse is because your attack. It's Worm Wave and Scarlet Flame. Sorry about that. But that means that if you're staying alive for that time, your Bahamut will be dealing like, I think like a good extra 40,000 damage by just single targeting someone, and Phoenix will be doing the same with Scarlet Flame. Does a little bit less damage, but really impedes the opponent's ability to do damage. So the problem with Summoner is that once you use your limit break, you really want to live. Like, you really want to survive. You're saying nerds are bad in a 1v1, I see. Well, in Crystalline Conflict, Summoner's not very good at engaging if their team isn't supporting them. But obviously in Crystalline Conflict, all jobs are going to lose in a 1v5. In Frontline, pretty much all of the ranged jobs are bad in a 1v1. The only exception is Red Mage, I think. And that's because Red Mage is... its toolkit is basically like... Imagine a melee assassin in like League of Legends. That's basically Red Mage's toolkit. They have like a ranged filler attack, but most of their toolkit is silence or root the opponent, dash in, and do a melee combo. Which is single target. But Red Mage does an absolutely insane amount of damage when they do that. So Red Mage is good in a 1v1, but they take more damage than all the melee jobs in Frontline. And speaking of which, and this is actually something that is very interesting, so I mained Red Mage in Ranked Crystalline Conflict in Season 1, and the scary thing with Red Mage, just now that we're on the subject of Red Mage, is that a lot of players don't understand how snapshotting works. So the scary thing about the Red Mage burst is that Riposte and Triashao and Redoublement does some damage up front, and if you're in the black mode, then they each do an extra 6,000 over 6 seconds. And like, close to 20,000 damage. Around a third, at minimum, more on squishier targets of their entire health bar. And the reason why that is scary is because often, if like there's a lot of chaos happening around, you can't really see what is attacking you. So what you notice is that your health bar is going, and you start healing yourself, and then you panic and you click guard and just hoping for the best. But the problem is, if you already have less than 20,000 HP and the Red Mage just went boop boop boop, 3-step dot combo, your guard doesn't actually do anything against the dot because of dot snapshotting. So the way dot snapshotting works, I've talked about this multiple times, but the way that it works is when you apply a dot to someone or something, it says, okay, so what damage buffs do you have now? Like, what do you increase the damage with? And what does your target reduce it with? So if they're guarding when you apply a riposte dot to them, then you're then the target, well, if they're guarding when you apply a pause to them, then you will do 90% less damage, which means that the dot will do 90% less damage. So it'll do 600 damage over its duration instead of 6,000. But if you apply the dot with a riposte, and then your opponent starts guarding, then they will take 6,000 damage from the dot through the guard, like just right in the face. And the key thing is that each of the melee combo steps apply a unique dot, like it's a different named dot, so they stack. It takes like a few seconds for the Red Mage to apply it, but you get the idea that it's like 1, 2, 3, and then you have it, and then you just have to deal with it. Exactly, that seems like a very, very nice best case of waster cooldown for 0 benefit. There's a few jobs that can do this, like this surprise factor kill, and it's usually to do with dots. Scholar can do it because of their biolysis doing over 20,000 damage over its duration, and Red Mage can do it because, well, their melee combo. I believe Summoner has something as well. I believe it's Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix does only 6,000 damage up front, but then it does 15,000 over its duration. Compare that to Bahamut, that only does 18,000 damage up front. Naturally, 18,000 damage up front is usually more helpful than 21,000 total over 15 seconds. But it depends on your situation, what you need, because Enkindle Phoenix also comes with Everlasting Flight. I believe Machinist can do it as well, because they have Bioblaster. It does like 16,000 over 12 seconds. And then the weird one, well, there's also Ninja who can do Goka Mekyaku for 16,000 over 12 seconds. The weird one is Reaper. Just to finish on this little discussion, they have this ability called Death Warrant. Imagine that you get like a 50% damage buff on yourself if you attack this specific target. That's what the Reaper does. So anything they do for the next 7 seconds will just like 50% of that damage is stockpiled and then applied again after the duration. The reason why Death Warrant is weird is because it ignores guarding, as far as I remember. Now, the thing is, the reason why that is completely irrelevant is because Death Warrant does 50% of the damage you did. So, if the person was guarding most of the damage you did, then the damage you did is going to be very little. Whereas, if you do a huge amount of damage, and then the opponent goes, oh, I have to guard, and then Death Warrant ends, then the Death Warrant will still do its full damage through the guard. So the reason why it is weird is because the damage it does is dependent on how much damage you did. But the damage you do in that time can be varied and heavily dependent on whether the opponent guarded or not. So it's very strange. It's basically that Death Warrant doesn't really say it, but it kind of ignores guard. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. Amanda says, I'm glad to hear you talk about mages. I can't decide what to play. Well, as Plus Minus said, Summoner's a pretty good start if you want to go into Frontline with a mage. So the thing with Summoner, just now that we've talked about Summoner as a good starter, let's go over the toolkit for a bit. So you have 2 different limit breaks. And then you of course have the standard toolkit. And then you have 6 other buttons. So like your toolkit is actually very, very, very slim. Like you don't have very much. You have Ruin as a filler. So you just do that if you're not using anything else. Radiant Aegis is a shield. Now the interesting thing about Radiant Aegis is you can actually use it on others. You don't have to put it on yourself. So normally if you read this ability you go, well, it gives a 10,000 absorption shield and reduces damage taken by 20%. Like, the 20% damage reduction only lasts while the shield lasts. But if you put it on someone else who's taking less damage for some other reason, or they have multiple barriers on them, so this barrier lasts for longer, then the person is taking 20% less damage for longer. So that gives you, like, some variety there. Often you want to use the Radiant Aegis on yourself because you're very squishy, so it makes sense you would do that. But it's just a consideration. You can give someone else the shield if you think it's better that way. Then you have Fester, which is like the... that's the button you click when you think someone is going to die. Because it's an ability, so you can weave it, so you can just run with someone and use Fester. And Fester does more damage the less HP the target has, so you generally only want to use Fester on someone that is below half HP. So like you see someone in like Frontline who's below half HP and you see that people are like dunking on them, then you just go, oh, I'm gonna Fester you twice. 16,000 damage right there. Very nice. Very good way to finish off someone. Mountain Buster is also an ability, and that is actually an AoE. The way that it works is that the primary target you use it on gets snared for 3 seconds so they can't move, and everyone else around it gets sucked into the position of your primary target and gets heavily slowed. They can still move a bit, but the key point is that you're actually like picking them up a little bit like the Dark Knight Salted Earth. So that is really good to use just before you're using Bahamut or Phoenix. Slipstream is one of the weirdest attacks in the game. Does an AoE attack centered on someone after a cast time, and then it puts down like a donut AoE. And the donut AoE does damage to enemies every 3 seconds, but the way that it does that, and this is actually a common thing in PvP, ground-placed AoEs in PvP tends to last a weird number of seconds, but the way that they get their regular amount of dot ticks is that Slipstream does not actually do damage with its placed AoE. Slipstream applies the dot itself, and the dot itself only lasts 5 seconds, which is also weird. But that means that if you're staying in the donut from Slipstream for its full duration, then it can give you a 15-second dot in total. But that is what makes it so weird, because it lasts 10 seconds and reapplies the dot every 3 seconds, so it gets like 3 opportunities to reapply, so it will approximately last 15 seconds. It's quite weird. But allies get like a 25% movement speed boost inside it, so allies want to like circle into it. And then finally you have Crimson Cyclone, which is like the 1-2 punch. A key thing that is worth considering is that the first smack dashes you to your target, but the second one does not. And also has a huge range. So you can actually just run up to someone, smack them, and then just run away while you do the follow-up punch. And also, another thing to consider is that the follow-up punch has a knockback effect, so it pushes other players away from the main target. But that means that a combo you could do as a summoner when you see someone who's like low health is you do Crimson Cyclone, Fester, Crimson Strike, Fester. That combines to around 36,000 damage. Consider that. You can also add in Mountain Buster for an extra 4,000. It's not going to kill someone, but if you see someone who's dying, you might be able to finish them off with that. I mean, just melee, Fester, follow up melee, Fester again. Very good combo. And then if you really, really want to mess with them, you just drop Bahamut on them after that. And speaking of which, your 2 limit breaks. Bahamut is the go-to because it does more damage. When you summon Bahamut, it does like 18,000 in the circle that you can see when you're placing it. And then you can enkindle Bahamut once to like do an extra 12,000 to someone. But while Bahamut is there, it will attack, as it states here, the lowest HP target within 30 yards. So it will just try to like snipe kills for you. That's what Bahamut is going to be doing. But while Bahamut is there, your Ruin is replaced with Astral Impulse, which just does 50% more damage. Phoenix, on the other hand, is the defensive option. When you put down Phoenix, it uses Everlasting Flight, which gives you and all party members nearby a nice heal over time effect. And an Excogitation-like effect that heals you for 12,000 if you drop really low. And then it also just... let's see. Oh, that is all it does, huh? So it doesn't actually attack? Is that right? That can't be right. Is that right? That is right. So Phoenix just does a defensive thing, and then you can use Enkindle afterwards to have it apply this 21,000 damage attack to an enemy and some enemies around them. And then while Phoenix is out, it will spam Scarlet Flame on, what does it say? The closest target. So if you hang out near Phoenix, it will just halve the damage of people near you if you hang out near it. And while you have Phoenix, you have Fountain of Fire instead of Ruin. Fountain of Fire doesn't actually do more damage, it's just instant, so you can run and gun, which you normally wouldn't be able to do, because Ruin has a cast time. So that's basically the toolkit. You use Bahamut if you don't need defensive help, you use Phoenix if you do. It's very rare Phoenix is better, because the sudden death kind of damage that Bahamut can deliver is just so helpful. Amanda says, I got here when you were talking about Red Mage and didn't realize till now this is all about PvP. If you're looking for a mage to play in PvE, just to answer that question, I recommend Summoner for PvE as well. It's the easiest mage to play. if you want something a little bit more exciting, Red Mage has a very unique playstyle. Black Mage is one of the hardest jobs to play in the game. But it is like the most mage of the mages. So it depends on what you're looking for. Now that you say that you weren't sure, you couldn't decide what to play. So yeah, plus minus said the same thing. Slime says, one of the nice things about Final Fantasy XIV is how easy it is to pick up new jobs. I started with Black Mage, and now it's one of my lowest level jobs. Yeah, that's understandable. It's not for everyone. Yeah, I would recommend Summoner or Red Mage if you want something that isn't too difficult. If it is difficult. If you want something that is challenging, then Black Mage is a very good choice. Not to say Red Mage can't be challenging, it has a very high skill ceiling. But yeah, if you want to get into PvP, Summoner's not a bad choice. All of its buttons have a specific purpose, so it's relatively straightforward. You just have to understand those purposes, and then you're going, and it's working. But I would recommend, honestly, I would recommend, rather than doing that, I'm just going to invite Sip. Rather than just blindly going, oh, Kai said Summoner, so I'll play Summoner, I recommend you go to Wolf's Den Pierre, the PvP zone, like so, and then I don't care your way to decide it, but you choose a job and go, I want to play this, like the job you think is coolest. Remember, PvP, all jobs work differently from PvE, so don't write off a job because you didn't like it in PvE. That includes Black Mage, by the way. So you just go, I think this job looks really cool, and then you like go, I think Red Mage is really cool, and then you just go and read all of its actions. Just read each one, see if you get it. And if you do, then, you know, there's striking dummies. Play around with it a little bit. See if you can, like, figure out what the buttons do. And when you've done that a little bit, take a look at the limit break. See if you can picture yourself how you would use this. Like, when should I use this? And if you can see that, then it's probably a good fit for you. Try it. Go into Frontline. I kind of did that. The thing that I realized I thought was really cool with Red Mage is that it has this thing with modes. So in PvE, Red Mage is basically a DPS that has a little bit of support actions, right? It doesn't really matter whether it's white or black magic. In PvP, it matters a lot whether it's white or black magic, because this ring actually decides how your spells work. When it's white, you have a defensive cooldown for your raid or your party. And your line AoE here silences for a moment, preventing everyone from doing things, because silences actually stop you from using any action in PvP. And your melee combo gives you a big shield when you're using it, so you can survive more damage. Your standard attack is just damage. When the circle is black, you instead get a debuff you apply to enemies, which actually makes them take more damage. So it's like reverse. Your line AoE binds the enemy so they can't escape you. Very nice if you're chasing someone. And your melee combo does more damage. Your filler attack here still just does 5,000 damage. And your limit break does both healing and damage in like a cross. But the mode you are currently in will be 50% stronger. So you can like go, well, do I need healing or do I need damage? And then like choose accordingly. So like there's a lot of decisions to make. An awkward thing is that if you need to be in the light mode, but you're currently like guarding because someone is like wailing on you, but you're like, if you need to switch mode, you actually have to like spend an action to switch mode. So that can be very, very awkward if you're in the wrong mode at the wrong time. But it gives like a huge amount of thought to what you're doing. Like your melee combo, just to finish on this, will be either the Holy, which does damage and healing in an AoE, or the flare, which just does more damage, depending on what mode you're in. And the key thing, and this is like, that was like the big revelation for me when I was playing it, is that you don't have to commit to a specific mode. You can switch in the middle of stuff. Sometimes it'll slow you down a bit, but I realized that silence is typically way better than a root. So I would typically engage fights in ranked PvP, where I did get to Crystal in Season 1. As you can see right here. Well, doesn't show it that well. Here! That doesn't show it that well. Here! That's the one! I was in Crystal rank in Season 1, and I was maining Red Mage, so I know what I'm talking about. Kind of. A little bit. Maybe. I would usually use, like, I would often, like, use the barrier first so that I had defense when I charged in, and then use the beam to silence my target, then charge in, and I would charge in the black mode so that I could do more damage. But the thing is, you don't have to dedicate to that. You don't have to, like, all eggs in one basket. You can really adjust your combo. Like, if you're, like, getting swarmed in the middle of your combo, you can be like, oh, I actually need the shield, and, like, switch to, like, light mode in the middle of your combo just fine. Like, you can even switch between each attack if you want some sort of balance. So, like, there's a lot to think about. The reason why I don't talk a lot about Red Mage in Frontline is because Red Mage isn't that good in Frontline, in my opinion. It's very hard. You're not helping yourself by choosing Red Mage in Frontline. It's very, very hard to play. But it's very good in Crystalline Conflict. It's like, it's really good at picking off someone. Like, if you're very annoyed by having to deal with, like, black mages just raining artillery down on your team from the way in the back, Red Mage is one of the best jobs at just ruining the black mage's day. Because the Red Mage can just run up to them and just do a melee combo. And if the black mage isn't guarding, they're probably dead. And Red Mage is possibly, it's not entirely, but it's possibly one of the only jobs that can do that. But it has its own weaknesses as well. Like, I discovered that Machinist can pretty much two-shot you. If you're a Red Mage and you just blankly charge up to the Machinist, I learned that the hard way. Plus minus says, sounds like you'd have to know enough about the game to run harassment. They sound like a ganker. Pretty much. Red Mage is like the quintessential assassin job. All your damage is front-loaded, and the only crowd control you have is designed to prevent your opponent from fighting back in some way. That is all you have. Which means that the Red Mage's gameplay loop is pretty much just, you know, running around the battlefield and then deciding, for this burst, do I need this or this? It's like, do I use this before I go in, or do I use this when I go in? And then you just choose, like, well, I need to silence this, so you go whoop, whoop, in, black, and then 1, 2, 3 out. That gives a damage bonus to your next spell. And there you go. And then you're just hanging out, like, looking for your next opportunity, because your things are on cooldown. You don't want to do anything. You just stay away. And then when you have another opportunity, you can just go, whoop, in again. Maybe you do the Frazzle version this time. And finish your combo here, out, and then flare. And something you may have noticed is that you actually don't lose your dual cast by going into your combo. So there's actually nothing preventing you from... I'm pretty sure you can do this. Let me just test if you can. So, like, I'll set up one spell, one melee combo, spell, in again, more melee combo. So you can actually just cast one spell to, like, prepare your next spell in case your target starts escaping you. Like, just saying, Red Mage is very, like, single-minded. It can do one thing incredibly well, and that thing is not very good in Frontline, but it is very good in Crystalline Conflict if you're good at it. And it is so good at it that I discovered that I had to play defensively in higher ranks because the other players discovered that letting the Red Mage just go to town was scary. So, like, I started getting focused. Plus minus says, what's your next Mockstone purchase? Well, let's see here. I'm probably buying the Samurai Barding. And then I have all of the 100 Mock-Tome items that I want. And then there's some for 50. But yeah, the Samurai Barding. I think right now it's like worth 500,000 on the market board. And I'd just rather not pay that. I can pay that, but I'd just rather not. Yeah. That is, of course, some inspiration. Talked a little bit about how Summoner works. A little bit how Red Mage works. If you want to get into Frontline, recommend you could try Summoner. Like, if you have no preference, Summoner's pretty easy to, like, get into it. But you could try any job. Try the one you think looks coolest. Many of the jobs play very differently. If you want to get into Crystalline Conflict, first of all, I really recommend going into Ranked if you can. Because players just try a little bit more there. Like, in the casual Ranked, it feels like sometimes you just lose because the enemy team has a high-ranked player that is playing casual and stuff like that. It's just way more random. And second of all, Red Mage isn't the most complex and it has a lot of room to grow. So, like, if you want to try Crystalline Conflict, Red Mage isn't the worst choice. Like, in low rank, you can get away with this burst a little better. In high rank, you start to have to learn to play defensively. There's a lot to learn. And any job works. You just choose the one you think is most interesting. And I'm just giving some, like, inspiring advice, maybe. You be the judge on whether it is inspiring or not. 50 Taoist Moogle minions. You just see see the next video I make. You just see, like, my entire inventory is just filled with Taoist Moogle minions. Huh. Weird. Right. I hope you enjoyed this surprise PvP stream. But that is pretty much everything I had. So if you did enjoy this stream, remember that there is a community Discord that you can join. There you will find many of the wonderful people you've met in the chat today. And you'll also find me and a weekly schedule, so you can keep track of anything that happens throughout the week, so you can catch a new stream or a new video early. And speaking of which, there's also an announcement room where you can see, basically that's the first place you'll see it when I'm posting a new video or planning a new stream and stuff like that. So you can find it there. And you can even get a role that makes me tag you when I'm posting something new like that. So you just get like a special edition notification, which can be helpful because sometimes, even though you ring the bell on YouTube, YouTube is like, oh yeah, actually, Kai started streaming yesterday. I mean, he stopped streaming since, but he was streaming yesterday. You could do that. And finally, first of all, you're not cursed, Gilano. We had fun. We also did win. So, pretty sure you're not cursed. And second of all, if you did enjoy the stream, I would very much appreciate it if you left a like on the stream. That helps me very much with the YouTube algorithm and all that, all those shenanigans. So thank you in advance. And that's everything I have. Tomorrow, I'm posting a stream, or not a stream, a premiere on a video about how item level influences your choices in Final Fantasy XIV. Notably, when is item level actually the best? And that gives some examples of when it isn't the best, which is often very difficult to quantify. So I hope you will find those examples helpful. And then we have Small Kai on Sunday instead of Saturday. That's everything. So, I hope you have a good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And with that said, that is all from me. So, bye-bye.